All right. Good morning. It is 6:30. It is October 11th. It is Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing all right, getting their morning together, getting their routine underway. Still, not a lot of normalcy out there in the world, but you have to create your own normalcy at times and keep yourself sane, which is what we try and do here. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of TPLive.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club. So here we are. Friday you had the big jobs report, right? Market wasn't sure what it would do, and then all of a sudden, support held, had a big rally. You had the horrific attack on Israel that slaughtered over 1,000 innocent lives. It's on day 5. It's still very fluid, but within that, people like Red Dog, why did the market rally? It's disrespectful. It's whatever you can't control the market. You could look at history on how the markets react during war, during historically volatile times, and sometimes markets kind of unite for some reason and rally. Especially when people don't think it should. Remember when Russia invaded the Ukraine back in February? We were down one day, and then that was the start of a new rally. So anyway, what I try and do is I just try and have everyone think level-headed in certain times, and and if you look here, it was pretty methodical. This is the S&P cash. Let's get YouTube. This was 42.16. When you try and figure out what do you know, what did we know? 42.16 was the low. Okay, a little bit below this 42.38, and then it held on the jobs report, and you ignited. This was a big igniting move where lots of tech names that were hanging around started to show some power. Market gave some clues that, hey, maybe we could, get a better sequence. And for the first time for 3 days, you got paid to be in longs where you could have bought a dip, you could have bought it through spots and sold some strength and made some decent money. So hopefully you did, because there hasn't been a lot of that this year. We talked about on Monday when we weren't sure how the market would really react. That was post day one. We held this 42.70, 42.80 area and reversed. And then yesterday you had a push into this gap. We talked about, could we fill this gap? And, a lot of people like, Red Dog, you hit the nail on the head again. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, you came out and told everybody that you were buying tier 2 in your blood in the street account for your wife, which is a long-term account that it's kind of like a 401k, but she can't contribute to it, so I time it. That was actually, I think, right around here. And here we are, 100 and some handles higher. And a lot of people use their swing account based on the BOS account, and if you did, you could have made 3% instead of getting upset and worried and running for the hills. That's when you embrace volatility. Anyway, so now you have to see what's kind of next here. I would think today would be like an inside day, meaning that yesterday's high, if you look at the SPYs, is probably the high for today. I don't think we would get over 430, 437.21. Here was a 436 gap pivot. Here's where it gets filled. So it kind of got filled. Now you can get rid of this. SPYs right now, if you want to take a bigger look, is up 90 cents. Do I think you fade the SPYs here today? Probably not, but I would not be looking to chase it. It's right here at 435.46, so it's within this candle. So if you could almost make this a little bit like this, where here is yesterday's low. So now we'll see, can we digest above this 432, go sideways, and then at some point, I guess we'll figure out if there's another area to clear. Okay, and we'll go step by step. And as of right now, it was 3 days of a decent move where some active bulls made some good money. So this is probably where we stay. I would think today at least. PPI is also today. CPI is tomorrow. Tech led the way. The Qs led the way. On Monday, held 360, hit a high of 371. This filled that gap beforehand, which the SPYs just hit. So that shows you relative strength. So here's 371. I would think also here too, doesn't run away. Maybe you get some inside action here. Let these moving averages catch up, and there'll be some probably individual stock movement, because there's been decent action in decent spots. IWM I would not buy. You had this move off the lows that hit the 21-day, so that was a nice little, not a leadership move, just a bounce type move. You go to the weekly chart, it held again in this channel. If you want to look at this channel, it held again. This was one spot. This is your next spot. So if the market wants to continue to rally over the next week or so, you would think this would probably be a brick wall of resistance as support held, same way resistance held. And now we're kind of coming off here. Nothing so compelling, just actionable cash flow. A few things to use still as a barometer. This morning, what's oil doing? Oil is up a penny. So it's not like oil's having this crazy move. See if if the USO holds above this. In my opinion, I think for the year, just someone asked me my opinion. I think that the top is in for oil, but because of what happened with the the unprovoked crazy freaking attack on Israel, you had this little bit of a gap up. So now see if this gap up holds. So that kind of helped put a little bit of a floor on the oil. So it just kind of balanced it out, which also gave you your bounce in the XLE. The XLE has this big gap up also. Looked like the XLE was going to follow the small caps and go from the high end of the range to the low end of the range. All of a sudden, a lot of people made some good money here because you had a red dog reversal, and then couldn't expect that gap to happen. So now, I guess some people long verse the gap. This is your next level. I'm not trading the energy names. I've been living in tech. I tend to focus on the Magnificent Seven. I tend to look at the part of the patterns there. Also some semis, also some cybersecurity names, and there's been a lot. Finally, there's been some patterns that kind of triggered. Some things have played catch up, some things have led. I gave you guys like the pecking order. Meta was the best one out of all of them. As crazy and choppy as Meta was, all it was waiting for a green light from the market to start an active sequence, and you had that move. At this point, I would think also like an inside day today. Maybe get rid of this 320. It's kind of noisy. Move this up here. Let the 8-day catch up. Let this build, and then at some point this area gets taken out. The bears are kind of pointed to, oh, red dog, it's a double top. Okay, some sellers come out when you get to a prior high, but it doesn't mean it's a double top. There was a quick short there at 1 o'clock yesterday when everything came in. I actually bought that dip. I am still in Meta, but we'll see. If we can hold 316 for a little bit, there's probably another trade above this 324 to 326, which would be pretty healthy. Google's also been leading the way. A little bit of a doji at the highs here, so probably a spot to reduce. You always want to use your tier system. Feels like Microsoft and Apple need a little bit of a break. Tesla was my best day trade yesterday. Hopefully you guys caught some with me. I was talking about how it absorbed a lot of the news. It absorbed the price cuts, the news of lack of demand in China, et cetera, et cetera. And meanwhile, even Dan Niles came out and said he was short Tesla, and then it went from red to green, took out 261, 263, hit 268. It's not leading this move, but it's all right. It's hanging in there. 265-ish. Probably get a little inside action. As far as the semiconductors, its SMCI was awesome. People made a lot of money in the alpha team. Had a move, digested above the 8-day, and then pretty much filled a big portion of this gap. So this gap right now goes like this. I always have a shaded area, not much left of it. So gaps get filled sometimes, and there's still a little bit more of it. That was a good trade. I focused on NVIDIA. NVIDIA's been really, kind of working its way higher. There was some news that Microsoft's going to have a chip and cause a little volatility, blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is it's still, to me, showing leadership. I still think that at some point post-earnings, if this market's going to have a real fourth quarter move, it's going to take out that 502. AMD was awesome. AMD within here got a little choppy, but that's why I said sometimes when you're not sure what day it's going to go out a week and buy options. I was buying the 105 calls in here with everyone on the alpha team. You guys at 630 Club, we talked about it 2-3 times. Options, I bought it for $2, cost average down to $1. I was selling yesterday closer to $5. And then I even made a call spread where I sold the 111s for $1, pretty much for almost what I bought some of the 105s for. So I used the movement, to help finance the call spread. Now I'm getting paid to sit. It's nice when that happens. I'm not going to lie to you. It hasn't happened that much in the last 3 months since the July top, which I actually called the Liz Clayman. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The action's been a little predatory and not the easiest to handle. But anyway, it's good that's why you have to keep your brain sane, your mind focused, so when things execute, you can be there and not have memories in your head of things that didn't work. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Palantir, was a nice trade. Look at that, bull flag. On the weekends, I always give you guys the cheat sheet of candlesticks and chart patterns that can make you money. Well, this was a bull flag, right? It took out this area above the moving averages, gave you a follow through, and now it's going to probably need to rest a little bit before it heads back towards 2024. Listen, there's another IPO today. Okay, what's it? Birkenstock. I guess it's like a high-end shoe type company. If you remember, I talked about the art of the first day. Listen, a month ago when ARM came out, we had a really good day trading ARM, if you remember, because why? It opened up, pulled in a little bit, took out the high of the first 15 minutes, and gave you follow through. There was a nice active trade. There was more demand than supply. Then Instacart was horrendous. Didn't even give you a chance to do that, so you could have stayed away and maybe got short. So we'll see what happens with BIRK. Look where CART is now. That's ridiculous. These investment banking piggies open it up to just get crushed. Now they probably rallied it a little bit to try and gain a little bit of interest around the BIRK, BIRK, and then ARM also. ARM was a little bit different. ARM actually, I guess, is setting up maybe for a better trade. The semis are getting better. Unfortunately, the problem with a lot of these deals is they're in the private market for so long. So by the time these friggin' investment bankers take them public, they've already had 10 different rounds and 10 different valuation increases. So they're overvalued by the time they hit the public market. They try and shove it down investors' throats. But thank goodness everyone's getting a little bit more educated. Nobody's just buying the open and taking their free lunch. They're waiting for a 3 to 6 month type of pattern to build before. So this actually looks kind of interesting here. But overall, this was your first day and a quarter, made some good money, and then I haven't really looked at it since. Some people say, hey, I'm going to buy it where the IPO price is. So if you bought it when it pulled back towards the 50-ish area, you know what? Now you're up about 10%, so that's cool. And then if you're looking for a trade, hey, maybe there's a trade there. Either which way. So XOM announced a plan to buy PXD. So let's see what the price is there. I guess it was already, a lot of it was already priced in. Here's PXD. PXD is up 250. Let's see, what did it do? Yeah, it's a nice premium, right? So here's they actually gave you a little bit more. So there was some news that XOM was going to be buying PXD, and I think they did. So you might see a little bit of probably other money or short covering names like this just in case it happens somewhere else. So let's see, I would think connecting the dots, XLE would be up. It's not. What about OAH? Flattish. All right. So anyway, maybe not. So for today, the SPYs are opening up a bit. The Qs are opening up a bit. They both had really big 3-day tradable moves. If you still are massaging longs, make sure to trim some, hold some. I would think today doesn't take out yesterday's highs. Doesn't mean you could just be a cute short. It would be nice if the SPYs could digest a little bit in here, let the moving averages catch up, let some patterns build, and then take this out. And it's Wednesday. PPI at 8:30, CPI is tomorrow. A lot of the reason why we also rallied is because some of the Fed officials are saying, that they probably, the market, the bond vigilantes did the job for the Fed by, by doing what they did with bonds. So now maybe they don't have to raise another quarter. So that's why we also rallied. TLTs, what's it called? Bounced a bit. Here are the TLTs, came off these lows. Actually, yesterday was a good red to green type trade. You can get rid of this for now. Put this up here, and came off the lows. I actually did pretty well. I was buying the TLTs in here, and then sold some, made a call spread. Bought back the short side of the call spread here, and then yesterday put it back on. So there was ways to make money in these TLTs. What's the TLTs doing today? The TLTs are, wow, up $1.59. Okay, so that's showing you yields coming in. I think the Fed funds rate or the dot plot for 2024 was 5 1/8, and now it's down to 4.5. So when rates come in, computers are programmed to buy, and that's what's helping the equilibrium here to burn off the, we're not oversold anymore. We're actually plus 35 on the oscillator. But anyway, pretty good move. If you look here, okay, people are like, well, what do you have on, Red Dog? I don't have a hell of a lot going on. I do have Google still on, Meta still on, Tesla on. I created a call spread with the TLTs. I bought the 87s and yesterday sold the 88s, so I'm getting paid to sit there. I have an AMD call spread. Remember I talked about the 105s, by the 111s, and then I have a NVIDIA big spread on 505s for earnings, 560s. I have a few little bio stuff on. I have some leftover Tilray that I don't think is going to work, and then there's a little bio that I've been playing, this BNOX. So I'm trying to massage things. I took a few things off yesterday. I had Microsoft on yesterday. I had a bunch of other things. And again, you don't need to be in everything to make money. You just can't be, fighting things. What's BNOX? BNOX is this little bio that has a nice chart pattern that had a very exciting day that some sales traders like. So, I'm in some as long as it continues to act well, and maybe some more results come out. I don't like little bios. You guys all know what happened with little bios. I broke a lot of rules about a year or two ago and lost a lot of money in one of them. But anyway, again, CRWD had some power. I listed this for Alpha Team right around 167. Big move. A lot of guys made good money. ZS also, listed it right in here, and then it took out the range. So there were nice 3-day moves, some leadership moves, some catch-up moves, some in-line moves. So if you came and approached the market with a thoughtful plan, not frazzled, it was hard not to be frazzled with what went on in Israel. An unprovoked attack, killing 1,000 innocent civilians, 250 kids at a damn music festival, to me, is crazy. Okay, I don't, all life means something, but anybody who's out there, in the streets, rallying around Hamas, lucky I'm not there. But anyway, let's just continue. What's gold doing? Gold had a bit of a gap up after being battered and bruised a little bit. So what's gold doing today? GLD is up another $1.25. So that held this gap, went sideways. So if you continue to play gold, well, it's acting pretty well, and you could probably get a move up towards this gap fill here, which is about 176, you would think, or maybe 175. Listen, I got to go put together about 35, 40 charts for the Alpha Team and Red Roll Access. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Try and be a little sympathetic, but be smart and just control what you can control. And that's how you explain things to your children and your kids, and how you conduct yourself in your community, and hopefully a little grassroots common sense spreads. We can't friggin' change the top, which has been the reason why some of this calamity hits. We don't have the Speaker of the House in Washington. Anyway, I'm not going to get all political, but I'm going to say this. Thank you. I appreciate you. Strong communities are important. Friends, family, work ethic, and just being a good person. That could help change things a little bit. Later, guys.